Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, the podcast that goes to the cinema every week, watches some stuff, stays at home, watches things on various streaming platforms, and then asks you the question, big screen or big stream? Where should you spend your time and your money?
Let's get ready to rumble!
My name is Tosin and I am the host of the podcast. I am based up in a place called Bromsgrove in the middle of the country. Joining me as always on the Isle of Wight is Sharon Bollen.
Hello.
Because if she's not on the Isle of Wight, she's not doing the podcast. And joining us from London, a London's correspondent, Holly Nethlane.
Hi.
Yes, our resident Rosamund Pike lookalike, apparently. So
ChatGPT said it the other day as well.
What, ChatGPT said you look like Rosamund Pike?
Yeah. Similar air. Came up with a few random ones. I was like, this is intriguing.
Oh, so do you reckon, is this one of these things where, where you have like, an AI that just sort of like talks back to you and tells you what you want to hear? Like,
No. I've been using ChatGPT 5.1 for all sorts of, profound and important things like getting my colours redone. It's a lot cheaper than going to a professional.
Getting your colours redone?
Yes, so I am now a soft summer as opposed to a soft autumn, which I used to be. So
okay, cool. Okay, I have a couple of. I'm beginning to think as a man, this might be like feminine beauty thing that I might not know about, or it's either that or it's decoration.
It's a feminine beauty thing you're not necessarily aware of, but also I was then running a male, entirely heterosexual friend's photos through it for him and telling him what he ought to do with his hair. So there you go. ChatGPT makes the world a more unusual place.
Or did you give it a picture and it said, you might want to try styling your hair like Rosamund Pike?
No, I had my colours done and I said, out of interest, is there anyone I look like? And it came up with, you have similar looks and vibes to these people. Is that interesting? That will entertain Tosin.
Okay, well, it definitely has.
Was literally Rosamund Pike.
It definitely has, although I'm really, really worried about putting myself through it because bias. So...
I think we're going to have to try it.
I think we're going to have to try it and see just how uncomfortable his results are. But anyway, we're supposed to be talking about films and TV shows and things that we've watched on rectangular screens. What have we seen in the cinema? Sharon, please take us away.
I have seen Sisu, Road to Revenge.
Sisu, Road to Revenge.
Cinema.
Oh, this is weird because we usually have a fourth person with us. We usually have Sean, and Sean had seen this last week, but he wanted to wait until you'd seen it before talking about it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Sean isn't here. So hey, I think that's that thing called life. Road to Revenge. Cool. And Holly, how about you? What you seen in the cinema?
Not a sausage.
Not a sausage. Where does that saying come from? Not a sausage.
I do not know.
Never mind. Okay, don't worry, Holly. And I know I've just given you your entertainment for the evening. So I'm not just giving you entertainment for the evening. Go find out where Not a Sausage comes from. And I have seen Wake Up Dead Man at the cinema. So yeah, Wake Up. Apparently it's out in select cinemas, and the cinema that is 30 minutes from my house was one of the selected. So Wake Up Dead Man in cinemas. And that is the third Benoit Blanc movie. All right, cool. How about at home? What have we seen at home?
First of all, I have seen all 3 series of Broadchurch, which I had never watched before because I'm incredibly late to the party. And also, Amber Alert. All
right. You see, I had an idea once of doing a podcast called Late to the Party. where essentially watch things way after everybody has finished raving about them and going, okay, let's see what the fuss was about. And it's one I still think Brewer's okay, Sharon is holding up a Brewer's Dictionary of Phrase and Fable. So I'm taking you found where Not a Sausage comes from. Okay, yes. Go on, give it to us.
It means nothing at all. The expression originally denoted a lack of money and is said to derive from rhyming slang in which bangers and mash, i.e. sausages and mash, represent cash.
So Not a Sausage, no. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
That's volume 2, Brewers.
Volume 2 of Brewers. Dictionary of Fable and Phrase?
Yes.
Okay, this always makes me wonder about what else you have on that bookshelf in your house, Sharon.
Oh, this book's up here.
I
All
have
right,
a
go.
very weird collection over to my right, I have to say.
All right, go. Sharon, have you seen anything at home?
Um, Not a sausage.
Nice, nice, nice. Keeping it topical to keep it topical. And I have seen there was something that I emailed you, sent you guys a message about. Let's see, there was Chad Powers. I know I definitely have seen Chad Powers, but I think there was something else I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it is. But I will.
You start talking, I will check.
Yeah, I'll start talking, and you please check. But let's kick off today with in cinema with Wake Up Dead Man, a film that in this weird world that we live in with streaming and screen and big screens and all that kind of stuff. This is, if we had done this a couple of weeks later, thank you very much, my dear friend Zoe, that was the one. Yeah, so if we'd done this a couple of weeks later, Wake Up Dead Man would have been Netflix, like actual Netflix, because this is a film that Netflix have put the money up to what to make. Netflix have given Ryan Johnson the money to make Wake Up Dead Man. We've lost Holly. I'm sure she'll be back. So, like, it's like they're giving him the money to make Wake Up Dead Man, and they've given him the money to make the second Knife House movie as well, Glass Onion. And yeah, but it's really weird because we went to the cinema and you sat down there, and especially when you think about the podcast, you sat down in the cinema, the big screen comes up, and the first thing that comes up on this big screen is Netflix Presents. And you're kind of like, wait, whoa, where am I? Did my house suddenly get bigger and darker? Whoa, I'm here. But anyway, this is it. So it is going to be on Netflix from the 21st. So where you can watch it there. But I thought I want to actually go see this on the cinema. That is like I want to go see this on the big screen. And so this is like, I think Benoit Blanc, it is not, by this time, it shouldn't be a surprise as to what Benoit Blanc mystery is. It's pretty much Agatha Christie in modern clothes. And the thing is that Ryan Johnson has made no bones about hiding the fact that he is pretty much doing an homage to Agatha Christie and her great detectives, to your Poirot and your Miss Marple and everything like that. So you have Benoit Blanc, who is a passive observer of the truth, who shows up and like he was in Knives Out and Glass Onion, does all that kind of stuff, and through shenanigans he gets involved to solve a local crime. In this one, what we have Josh O'Connor, who plays a father. This is all set within the Catholic Church. And you have Josh O'Connor, who plays a father who used to be a boxer. He used to be a boxer, found his way to the church, found his way to faith. And this film starts off with him punching out a deacon, like actually just straight up punching him out. And because of that, he gets sent to this troublesome parish, which is led by a guy called Monsignor Wicks, played by Josh Brolin. And Monsignor Wicks, they say that his flock keeps dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. In this Lady of Perpetual something, or I can't remember what it's called. Lady of Perpetual Fortitude is the name of his church. Oh, wow. And so Josh O'Connor goes there, and he describes himself as young, dumb, and full of Christ. And he goes there, and he's kind of like, yeah, this is what the church should be. The church should be there. We should go out there, open up arms and everything. And when he gets there, in Josh Brolin's Monsignor Wicks, he finds a very different kind of person, someone who is pretty much at the polar opposite of the end of what he thinks he should use the church for. This is a priest who is one step removed from being Andrew Tate or someone like that. He's like, essentially his sermons are just sort of like yelling, telling people that they're terrible, all that. But he's developed this cult of personality, and there's this very strong, loyal core of people who follow him as the priest and everything like that. And everything that Josh O'Connor tries to do to try and say, oh no, this is what we're supposed to do, this is what we're supposed to do, it kind of like he just keeps butting up against it. So obviously, with this being a Knives Out mystery, somebody has to die. Somebody has to die. And this time, when the person dies, it is in a very kind of locked room mystery. They're like, how on earth did this happen? How on earth did this person die? Because there is no way we could have seen the killer. How did this happen? And so Benoit Blanc shows up, and he shows up quite late into the film because they do a lot of setting up of the place that they're in, of the world that you're going into, all that kind of stuff. And then Benoit Blanc shows up and does this whole thing. And a lot of this film, I think you can feel Ryan Johnson, who wrote it, you can feel him sort of wrestling with himself because he's described as a lapsed churchgoer. And I think you can see that he's writing from experience. Like, it isn't the church isn't caricatured, which happens a lot in Hollywood. It's not caricatured. It's kind of like it's almost kind of like there's good people, there's bad people, and then there's this whole thing where you have like should this be a gospel of grace or should this be a gospel of fire and retribution, and how those two things go together, and and there's a lot of discussion about this through Josh O'Connor and pretty much everybody else, and even like some conversations that he has with Benoit Blanc when he shows up, who is card carrying, like, atheist and hates all this stuff, hates all this hokum, yeah, and I think this is a very good film, and I am so glad I saw it in the cinema as opposed to at home on Netflix, because if I saw it at home on Netflix, I do not think that I could have sat through the whole film without being distracted, or without something happening, or without me having to go do something or anything like that. I don't think I could have just sat down and watched the whole film from beginning to end. I think it might be a little bit long. It's about 2 hours, 20 minutes, and I think that you could lose probably about at least 10 minutes of the film. It has a great supporting cast, which is like, I mean, the Knives Out films are becoming stupid in the supporting cast. You have Andrew Scott, you have Jeremy Renner, you have Glenn Close, Kerry Washington, Daryl McCormack, Thomas Hayden Church, and all these people, Jeffrey Wright, all these people play like, not tiny roles, but like, the whole idea is that if you give it, I feel like if you give it a big enough name, Kaylee Spenny as well, if you give it a big enough name, you're probably sitting, okay, who actually did this? Who would have done it? And because they're all big, there's no obvious, like, Columbo, look, that's the big star this week, they did it, kind of thing. So I thought it was quite good. I liked the mystery and how it went about, the denouement, so to say, because there's a bit where I feel Rian Johnson knows that by this time many people have seen many different Agatha Christie adaptations, and that there's certain beats you're supposed to hit. And so he knows the beats you're supposed to hit, and he does hit those bits, but he knows that what's the point of watching the same thing again, and he mixes it up a bit. So this is almost kind of like his Hounds of the Baskervilles, where Sherlock Holmes is hardly in the book. And it's kind of like where Benoit Blanc is in the film, but at the same time, not as much as you might think he would be in the film. And there's even like the big denouement where you say, and this is how it was done. Even that has like a curveball thrown into it and all that. I think, Sharon, you'd like this a lot. I think it has the Agatha Christie thing, it has the mystery thing, it has the church thing, and I feel like the things it says about church and the things it says about what you can do with it and what kind of power and who should have that kind of power, whether anybody should have that power, is really, really interesting. I think it's really, really interesting what the film is. I would give this a 4 out of 5 for Wake Up Dead Man. To give it its full title, Wake Up Dead Man, and Knives Out Mystery. So
it is high on my watch list, I have to say.
Well, don't worry. In a couple of days, you will not have to leave your house, because as I was talking to my wife earlier today, and I was mentioning, it's in cinemas, but it's going to be on TV pretty soon. And she was like, "Yeah, that's my kind of cinema, the kind of cinema where I don't have to leave the house. Bring the cinema to me."
Well, yes, you are correct.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, well, yeah, okay, yes, there's problems with that for this thing that we love, but I do get your point. All right, cool. And now, Holly, we go over to you. We go over to, I believe this is ITVX with Broadchurch, seasons 1, 2, 3.
Excellent. Well, I am incredibly late to the party, as it started in the mid-2010s. I think it was 2015 the first series was out, and the last one was 2017. So I am really slow on the uptake. And it begins with with David Tennant finding himself a police officer in a place called Broadchurch, which I was assume is in East Anglia, though I don't have any evidence to support this because I'm insufficiently good at paying attention to such things.
Yep.
I think it's filmed in Dorset.
Okay, yes, that would make sense.
Yeah,
it's very lovely looking. I have to say, it's got a lot visually going for it. And he has just moved down there from London, as you do, because why not? And finds himself working with complete brain fail day. This is what happens when I'm not terribly well.
Olivia Colman
as another police officer. And they go through the first series. It's investigating simultaneously the the death of a local boy who is found on the beach, and unpicking that alongside mysteries going back into the past. And the first series rounds up with a closure of the case, but not a trial. And you move into the second series with a trial.
Okay.
And that then unfolds with elements from the present and elements from the past.
Is it one of these things where, okay, outsider comes into small, close, tight-knit community and you find deep, dark secrets that go past decades? So. Yeah.
Though not as much as you necessarily might think, but there are long-standing relationships and oddities and stuff. But it's beautifully acted. It's a really good cast. It's the first two series have
Jodie Whittaker.
They have Jodie Whittaker. They also have Jonathan Bailey.
Oh yeah.
So it's
baby Jonathan Bailey.
Baby Jonathan Bailey. It's a really, really good cast. I mean, Jodie Whittaker is fantastic in it, and you wouldn't necessarily recognise her as the Jodie Whittaker you know now. But they're all. It's a really, really good cast. It's very well scripted. Really well put together. It's compelling viewing, and I can't believe it's taken me so long to watch it, but I also absolutely can. And you kind of can't say too much about it. Have you?
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, watch it. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's on my radar, but I just haven't ever watched it. So yes, it's one of the ones I've been meaning to.
So you think that all the hype it got was suitably justified?
Yes. Yes, okay. I have to say it really was. And I was really sad getting to the end of series 3 and realizing there was no more.
Did you have a law of diminishing returns? Like, was season 3 as good as season 1, or did you get to the point where, because I find especially when you binge seasons back to back, you start seeing you notice things that you might not notice if you watch them like a year apart or something like that.
I think season 1 is probably I think they were all good in different ways. And they had each had a slightly different feel to it because of what was being unpicked and how local it was, how less local it was, how current it was, how historic it was, and so they were all really good in different ways. I think probably the first, or possibly the second. The first was probably the best of them, but they're all genuinely really good.
Okay.
And good. I say good Christmas viewing, nice and cheerful with a bit of
cheerful, bit of murder. Christmas. Actually, well, Agatha Christie's are always on. Murder is at Christmas. There's always an Agatha Christie or something like that where people are getting killed. I mean, it's like,
and it just tells you what happens when you trap people with their families for too long.
Well, yeah, and also
murderous intent.
The EastEnders holiday, Christmas thing. Someone's always dying.
Well, exactly. It's just what you've got to do over Christmas. Clearly,
all right, cool.
I really recommend it. I think.
How many stars did you give it?
Solid 4-star.
Solid 4 stars. And one thing I would say that you should. Okay, so Holly, your next job is to go watch a show called Grace Point.
Okay, let me make a note.
Grace Point. Okay, you haven't heard of Grace Point, I'm guessing.
I've not heard of it.
Okay, so Grace Point is an American remake of Broadchurch starring David Tennant.
Oh.
Yes. So they remade Broadchurch, but they took David Tennant and made him American for the American take on Broadchurch. And
it's amazingly mad.
Yes, I know. It is amazingly mad, and it's something that I personally have wanted. I'm with you, Sharon. I haven't watched Broadchurch. I've heard about it for ages, but I think there's a bit of, when something gets so hyped, you just kind of go, on principle, I refuse to watch this.
This is why you have to wait until 10 years afterwards.
You have to wait until 10 years after, when all the hype has died down, to figure out if it was actually any good. And but I've always wanted to sort of watch Broadchurch and watch Grace Point and see why did they bother making an American remake, especially if they're going to get the star of the British one to come in.
That's mad, but I will now watch it. I'm literally writing it down so I can go on.
Yes, go watch it and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. If I don't think they ever made a second season of Grace Point, so that might tell its own story.
No, it doesn't look like it.
but we'll see. All right, cool. So now let's go back to cinema and let's talk Sisu, Road to Revenge. Now, Sharon and Sean saw the first Sisu. You loved the first Sisu, and
Yeah.
so tell us about the second one.
It is more of the same. It is almost it almost sort of takes off where the last one ends. It's about a year after the first one. The war has ended. Second World War has ended. We're into 1946, and part of the post-war sort of settlement between all these nations is that Finland gave up to a proportion of its territory to the Soviet Union as it was then. And the place where Sisu lived, the man who is known as, we think of as Sisu, that's not his name, that's his sort of attitude.
Yeah.
Sisu is a state of mind, an attitude. But where he lived with his family before the war and before sort of horrors overtook them, is in the Russian zone. So throughout the stories, you see him with a huge former army truck, vast thing, with his passport, and he's going into the Soviet Union to get some things that he wants to recover.
Yeah.
His whole land, his house, everything is there.
Yeah.
And because he is notorious, because of his activities during the war, he was this formidable fighting force, a one-man
army.
Yes, and as soon as he goes into that, his name is like recognized and it's triggered, and there is a response, and they're determined that this time they're going to get him.
I love it.
And I would only say, big mistake.
I love it. I love it. Oh my god! I feel like the plot is just so knowingly. You know what we're doing. Come along for the
what's
ride.
going to happen.
It's constructed in the same way the first one, like different chapters, like chapter 1, poem, chapter 2, the road, chapter 3, mayhem, or whatever. That's not the real titles, but it's that sort of thing. And they say
chapter 2, the other road, or something really profound.
And the person they send after him is his former nemesis, played by Stephen Lang, who was a Russian sort of commander who is himself imprisoned in Siberia, but they drag him out of his imprisonment because he was convicted of war crimes. They've dragged him out of imprisonment to say, right, you go get him. And then I can only describe it as bloody mayhem. And as in, it was very bloody.
I absolutely love it.
Intended. And yes, it's absolutely insane what goes on. And the man he's to embody Sisu is he's indestructible. He goes through so much punishment, and yet he's filled with Sisu, this rage, determination, indomitability that nothing's going to stop him, and nothing does. He's defies description. And
does it have a John Wick-esque characteristic?
He does. I mean, he takes a lot of punishment. There's one bit where you see him he's captured, and anyone else would be like, oh, and your is not for him, it's for the ones who capture him.
The thing about this film, because this is a finished film, or these two are finished films, and I feel like it's kind of like the filmmaker went like, okay, we never got to make 80s movies in Finland, so I'm going to do it now. So everything I hear about this is like it's an 80s movie all over again. Unashamed action, unashamed, just sort of like we're just going to shoot stuff up, blow stuff up. It doesn't make sense. And if you're going to be the person standing there taking notes going, oh, but actually, I don't think that would happen. That's where the door is.
Yeah, could you do that with an army truck with that load on it? Could you actually jump over? And there's some. He does a bit of like MacGyvering as well. So he's got seconds to work out how to foil this sort of deadly attack, and he does it every time with like a sort of a match and a fish hook and a bit of wood or something.
And a bit of cheese.
And he can dismember, just by looking at them, people's heads just fly off. It is what it is. You can't really compare it to anything other than it's just this gloriously mad, crazy town visited to the screen. So it is, but you can't help but just revel in it because it is just completely it's almost like joyful in its insanity.
Yes.
I mean, that and we find out why he's filled with this rage, why he has this Sisu, and you find out, um, you know, you get a glimpse into his psyche, but it's just nuts. It's gory, it's violent, it's bloody and like gore and craziness. But I just found it such fun. I really did. I just thought, to me, it was just put your feet up, sit back, enjoy the ride, and don't try to think of the science of it.
Science? What science? Where we're going, we don't need science.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But there's some great scenes there. There's a certain scene where he's fleeing from basically the whole Russian army at one point, and there are these two Russian guards on the border guards, and you hear this sort of explosions and gunfire, and you sort of see these sort of billowing sort of bursts of fire in the distance, and then sort of like he emerges, and it's just this classic.
Yeah, classic
madness.
Classic. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Okay, never mind. You guys may have not seen that. Anyway, so how many stars would you give this?
Again, I would give it a 4 because I think it's just entertaining at its heart, and I think you just can't argue with that. It's not for everyone. I wouldn't say, because it is gory, it's graphic, it's just brutal. But it is just, to me, it was just pure entertainment.
Escapist action. I remember loving that as a kid. So, all right, cool. So that is 4 stars for Sisu Road to Revenge. There was something you said that made me think of something, but it's gone. Never mind. It's not coming back. And now let us go back to the final thing we're going to talk about on streaming this week, or streaming with friends. And this is My Dead Friend Zoe on Sky Cinema. And okay, so I said Wake Up Dead Man. I think you would like that, Sharon. And Holly, I think you would like this, because I feel like this is one of those films that it's a bit like, what was the name of that one? Something Lake, Echo Lake, Odo Lake.
Echo Lake.
No, I remember, yes.
Something Lake.
Yeah,
anyway, it's a bit like one of these sort of films that shows up on Sky that is small, and you probably had a really small cinema release and all that. And this stars Shaniqua and Martin Green and Natalie Martinez. And when the first time you meet them, they are soldiers in Afghanistan. So they're soldiers in Afghanistan. They're 2 females in like this platoon. They have to deal with constant sort of like, one guy who's always coming and leering at them, or is always trying to like get a date with one of them and all that kind of stuff and all that. And they're talking about what their life is like in Afghanistan and what's going to happen when they come back. I mean, the film is called My Dead Friend Zoe, and one of them is called Zoe. So you kind of know where it's going. So you're sitting down, and Zoe is sitting down talking to, I think her name is Morgan, Sonika Martin Green's character, and it's saying, well, it's like promise me something. It's like what? Promise me that when we leave here, I'm not going to be one of these people that ends up sitting out in a circle singing Kumbaya, talking about my feelings and how this war has messed me up. Smash cuts to Morgan sat in a room with Morgan Freeman and a whole bunch of other veterans talking about how the war has messed them up and their PTSD. And the thing about this is that Morgan is sat down there, and Zoe is beside her. And it becomes very obvious that Zoe is in Morgan's mind. So Zoe's in Morgan's mind, and it becomes one of these films where this person is walking around with a character that only they can see. But then it becomes like almost a meditation on what happens with veterans when they're going through PTSD, or what happens when they're trying to get back into real life, what happens with all that kind of stuff. And I think the clever wrinkle, I just realized I haven't started my timer. Never mind.
Shocking.
Yeah, so like the clever wrinkle I find with this film is the cause of the PTSD is, it surprised me. It surprised me when I was kind of because there's a very obvious thing that you could have gone there. It's there was an IED and everything like that, and it isn't quite that. And the film just sort of plays with that a little bit. Thankfully, it's not that long, and you have the whole thing of where you have Morgan, who is not really engaging with the therapy sessions because she doesn't want to tell everybody that she can see this person who nobody else can. And then there's a bit where she meets up with I think his name is Utkarsh Ambudkar. Who he shows up in a lot of stuff. He was in the Pitch Perfect movies. He played Mindy Kaling's brother in Mindy Project, and that's like, a bit of a love interest storyline that might get out of that. Ed Harris is in it as her grandfather, and so there's a whole subplot about her grandfather who was also a veteran, and her grandfather who might be getting memory loss, and what they do about that and all that kind of stuff, and it's all put in there. But the main thing about this, and it's you find out that a lot of the people you see in this film are actually veterans. So a lot of the people you see in this film, because there's some of the performances, you look at them and go, that's a very naturalistic performance. That's a bit of a weird way of speaking. That at the end you realize, oh, not actually an actor. Actually, that person's a veteran. And I think the guy who directed it is also a veteran. And it's one of those films that I think when I finished watching it, I was like, okay, that's just a straight down the middle 3. The more I think about it, the more I think, actually, no, it has some value, a little bit more than that. I'm not too sure that the storyline works. I think there's some things that they do in the storyline that seem to be almost sort of like padding to fill out the runtime. But as I said, Holly, I think it would be interesting for you to watch this, because I think some of the stuff it says about female friendship, some of the stuff it says about fighting through that kind of stuff, I think is interesting. I think I'm going to stick with a 3, but it's a high 3. It's a high 3 where I feel like and we spoke about Morgan Freeman being in Now You See Me, Now You Don't the other week, and looking like he was just kind of like, I can't believe they paid me to do this. But in this, he actually looks like he's acting. And I think part of it is because Morgan Freeman himself is a veteran. And so...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. And it's like, and I think a lot of that sort of like plays into the people who made this. It feels like a passion project. It feels like a passion project. It feels like not quite a love letter, but just kind of like to sort of say to veterans, well, if you'll excuse the phrase, we see you. So I would give it a 3 out of 5, but I think it will be interesting. I'll be interested to see what it is you think about it, Holly, if you ever get to watch it.
Oh, I will add that to the list.
All right, cool. And that is it for this week. Who do you think has won, Netflix or cinema?
Cinema.
It is cinema.
Yeah.
It is cinema. And we have a little bit of time. I have a little bit of time this week, so I think I'm going to continue with, but seeing as I'm not making late to the party a section of the show, I mean, I think it's just whenever we watch something that we are late to the party, I'm just going to highlight it. Late to the party. But now we're going to go to the whole thing of things, because we have a rule on this show where if we're going to come and review a TV show, you have to have watched the entire season before we bring it here, because we think it's unfortunate. And I've seen this where I've seen some shows, there's some publications that review a TV series based off of the first 2 episodes. And they go, yeah, it's good. And by the time you get to like the 6th episode, they're like, oh no, it went downhill. and I think with us, we're more like, okay, no, let's watch the whole thing and then let's assess it. Because if we're going to be putting TV shows up against films, we need to have the whole story and see what this thing is like. So, but every now and then, there might be shows that we're in the middle of watching that we may or may not get to the end of and might never get mentioned on this podcast. But, I mean, I know, Holly, you mentioned All's Fair last week.
Yeah, over to you. I think you need to do your follow-up because, I might be biased.
I tried watching the first episode of All's Fair. If nobody knows what this is the Kim Kardashian starring Ryan Murphy legal drama. And I know, I think after a while, I had to stop sending text because I felt like Sharon and Sean might get annoyed on our WhatsApp group because we kept talking about something that they hadn't watched. And I would highly recommend you don't. Something that I highly recommend you don't.
Pushing myself through that.
No, honestly, I decided I was going to try and watch All's Fair just to see because it's been getting a kicking. Obviously, it's been renewed for a second season, to see if there was anything that, like, if there was something to all the kicking it's been getting. And I honestly had to turn it off after 47 seconds. Literally, I paused it. I was like, what the? And I was like, how long did I? And I went and looked at the time. I was like, 47 seconds. And that is enough time. And I thought it was just me being like, let me find my own like take on it. So I showed it to my wife, who tends to be a lot more generous about these things. And she stopped it after 59 seconds. and she was just kind of like, and her comment after watching 59 seconds of this show is, oh my God, the writing is so bad. And within the first minute, this show has like, imagine if you had a bunch of teenagers and you went to a drama class and you said, okay, cool, we're going to try and improvise something, write the first draft. That's what it is. The writing of this show is like that first draft. I mean,
like young teenagers who are not very bright.
Well, yeah, the thing is, I remember being a teenager and wanting to write plays and all that kind of stuff. And I remember being in a church and saying, you know what? I think the worst kind of play is the kind of play that starts off where two people are walking along and one of them just kind of goes, wow, did you hear what Pastor said the other day in the sermon? Oh yeah, that was very good. He told us blah, blah, blah. And just starts telling you stuff. And literally, that's how this show starts. It doesn't talk about pastors or anything like that, but that is how this show starts.
It would have been better if it did. I would have voted for the pastor's version.
I mean, honestly, that's how this show. And you're just thinking, what the heck am I watching? And the other thing because I think my wife put it a lot more succinctly than I can. She said she thinks it's so badly written, it doesn't give anybody a chance to act.
That I think is fair. And you were a lot more polite than I was because I used a lot of badder words than that.
No, but honestly, it's and I know what you were saying about Naomi Watts' accent. It does it to an English. Okay, I'm not English, but I live in England, and to an English ear, it's wobbly. It is wobbly, and it's
not just wobbly; it's grating.
Yep,
absolutely grating. It doesn't sound like any sort of English I've ever come across.
And she did have a good English accent because wasn't she? Aren't her parents English? Wasn't she raised here?
No, she has done brilliant English accents in the past. And so what I'm thinking that this show is actually engineered to within an inch of its life to be exactly what it is. I think Ryan Murphy has sat down and he's figured out that good TV doesn't necessarily sell stuff, but controversial stuff does. And so if we make a deliberately bad TV show, people are going to talk about it. People are going to watch it because it has Kim Kardashian in it. And sure enough, they've got a second season, which many good shows have not.
Yeah, I mean, they dropped the Wheel of Time, and yet this gets a second series.
Because people are watching it because I feel every bad actor, every bad cutaway, every horrible shot of some old man going, rah, 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 giving you some terrible amateur dramatic laughter is designed to be exactly like that. I feel like I think it's designed to be exactly like that because they know this is what's going to get people talking about it. This is what's going to get people watching. And I don't think they care if it's good. This is a show that is a lot more about the business than it is about show. It's about we're going to put something out there, people are going to watch it, and they might hate themselves, but hate sells. Forget about sex. Hate sells.
Yeah, I think hate sells better than sex. Do you think he literally said to Glenn Close, forget you can act? Because it's like Glenn Close doesn't remember how to act, and Glenn Close, as we all know, is amazing.
As can be seen in Wake Up Dead Man this week. Yes, Glenn Close is in Wake Up Dead Man this week. But the thing is, I actually think that is what he told them. I honestly think that's what he told them. And the number of scenes in this show, the whole point of this scene is to tell you about the last scene you just saw. You've seen it happen, and then they come into the scene and they're just recapping the last scene. There is a section, and I timed it. There is an almost minute-long section of Kim Kardashian driving a car. That is it. It is just driving a car, not saying anything, nothing, like just driving. And I'm like, what the hell is this nonsense? So yeah, I'm not watching any more of that.
I will try because I'm a masochist.
I'm not watching any more of that, but I think what's going to happen is at some point I'm going to forget how bad it was, and I'm going to be, it couldn't have been that bad, and I'll put it back on again. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen.
I will remind you periodically as I try to watch more of it, just how bad it is. You don't have Disney, do you, Sharon?
No.
You're safe.
I'm quite clean.
Watch it by accident.
Yeah.
Yes. And the other thing I've been watching, Down Cemetery Road.
I need to return to that.
Apple.
Yeah, that's on Apple.
Yes.
It's written by the McHerron who writes the Slow Horses novels.
Yes.
And this is different from Slow Horses. It's slower than Slow Horses. It's kind of like, and I think it's very easy to put this one down and not come back to it. I feel like it's because you have Ruth Wilson and you have Emma Thompson, and Emma Thompson's character, especially Zoe Bohm, is a lot of fun. But there's some weird tonal things about it. Like you have what's his name? Adil Akhtar, who is in it, and he plays this sort of like government lackey, and he has a lot of his scenes are with Darren Boyd, where they play like somebody in the government and like, some sort of fixer for the government. And those scenes feel like they're in a totally different show. Those scenes, they feel like it's some sort of like comedy show, which you would watch, but it does butt up against the thriller that you thought you were watching. And but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish watching that one. But it's like, halfway through at the one, I'm kind of going, yeah, well, and continue with Pluribus. How about you guys? You guys halfway through anything?
Yes, I have started Watson, which is 4 episodes in, which is thoroughly watchable, but feels like a bit like House, but with a slightly more ethnically diverse House.
Bargain basement house.
With some Sherlock Holmes spin-off.
Yeah. I saw the trailer.
House.
I saw the trailer for this and I thought, that's just Bargain basement house.
Yes, broadly speaking, but it's watchable. It's also. I don't know if you're watching this yet, Sharon. Welcome to Derry.
No, I haven't. I'm aware of it, but I haven't really.
I'm enjoying it. It is interesting, having read the books. It's got links into The Shining and Doctor Sleep. It's a good cast. It's got it connects well to the latest version of it. The 2 parts of the latest version.
Yeah.
It's as far as things stand, I'd say worth watching, particularly if you have read the book, because it gives you details of the throwbacks.
Okay, but I'm going to ask one thing about this. Is this another tale of kids in peril and being eaten by this?
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
That's the point of it.
Yeah,
that
I know.
Is the absolute point. But it's not just kids in peril. There's a lot more adults in peril as well in this.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna hit my kids in peril thing at the moment. It's kind of
the
like
adults are quite periled up too, so it's not just the kids.
It's kind of one of those things where I found like, you have your own kids and then all of a sudden you're just kind of like, why is this entertainment?
Yeah.
It's like like I remember my brother. I remember the Hunger Games coming out, and the Hunger Games came out within a year of him having his first child. And I remember saying, "Oh, you would love this. This is like right up your alley, that kind of stuff." And it is right up my brother's alley, at least the pre-kid version of my brother. And and he come back and he's like, "Why did you ask me to watch that? It's just kids killing each other. Why?" And he was seriously traumatized by that. And I was like, "Oh, something's changed." Something's changed. And yeah, I've gone through that change too. All right, cool. So anything else that we have watched or we're in the halfway through watching or anything like that?
Well, I'm halfway through something on Apple TV. I think it's called The Last Frontier.
Oh, yes, that one.
I'm losing a bit of momentum with that one, I'm afraid. It started off with like a really interesting sort of idea. A plane full of like these highly dangerous prisoners crash in Alaska.
Con Air, the TV series.
Yeah, and then like the local law enforcement bods, led by Jason Clarke, who we all know is a bit Marmite to Shawnee.
Forget Marmite. No, he's definitely a hate figure.
He's on the hate side, but someone must love him because they keep putting him in these films. So there must be another side to that story. So he is, he's the lead in the law enforcement who's trying to catch these. And it started off like a sort of prisoner of the week where you follow one escaped convict and how he gets caught. And then there's like this running theme throughout it. But, I'm just losing interest in it. I think I'm about 3 or 4 behind now. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can really... The underlying theme, that's all the whole black ops, these government bodies doing dodgy things and secrets that, that we're not supposed to know about. I'm just not that interested in that. And so, yeah, I'm flagging a little bit. But on the other side, I am watching Pluribus and I am really enjoying that. I just, every week it comes as a bit of a surprise. You're not quite sure where it's going.
Yeah.
And every week it delivers. And I'm just like, yes, I'm really, really liking that. And I'm really into it to see where it goes.
Yeah.
So, yes, I want to watch this, please.
Yeah.
No thank you to The Last Frontier.
Yeah. Pluribus is good stuff. Vince Gilligan, he's done it again. Right, and I believe that's it for us this week. So all that's left to say is please do like us, subscribe on YouTube and on various platforms. If you're listening to this, just the audio only, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. Please like, subscribe, get back in touch with us. Tell us what it is that you think. Tell us what you think about all these different things. Maybe you think All's Fair is a masterpiece and we are blind. Please do tell us. We would love to hear how you came to that conclusion. But until that time next week, it is a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
That polite British goodbye chicken.
There's an order. It's you, and then it's Shawnee, and then it's Sharon, and then it's me. It's the same order as the introductions.